3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to another episode of Married into Crazy with Snooks and Lovey. I'm Lovey.
I am Snooks.
And I can't believe she actually let me say my name first.
I was chomping at the bit, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to let him do it. You can have it.
And you know what? I appreciate you.
Thank you.
For
Wait,
not,
hold on. I was about to say for what? What do you appreciate me for? I would like to know.
For not yanking on my leash like you do all the time.
Wow. You know what? Lovey likes to have people feel sorry for him.
I do.
He acts like I'm a ball and chain. Is that what it's called?
No, not a ball and chain.
Okay.
Not a ball and chain.
Just the ball or a chain.
Definitely the chain.
Whatever.
On my neck.
Whatever.
She yanks on that like a leash.
Anyway, enough of that.
No, anyway,
sir.
We want to welcome everybody back once again to the Married into Crazy podcast.
Yes.
You know, it's funny. Last week we talked about our trip to New York and New Jersey, and we left out a very critical part of the story.
Well, okay, so we need to. It is a very critical part of the story. I just kind of want to talk about what happened the weekend prior. So, as you guys noticed that you got 2 episode replays. Is that what we call them? Mm-hmm. Throwbacks back 2 weeks in a row. That's because for 2 weeks we were actually traveling. So want to give a heads up and a shout out for the marriage meetup conference.
Oh yeah, the marriage mastery.
Yeah,
the marriage mastery meetup that we did down in Los
Angeles. We had a great time. We had such a great time, and just want to say thank you again to
Ms. Mavis McKnight and Bishop McKnight.
Bishop McKnight.
We were there with Tanisa Collins as well.
Mm-hmm. And it was phenomenal. We had a lot of fun. And also shout out to our girl, Ash.
Oh yeah. Ash came through, picked us up, took us to Roscoe's Chicken.
Yeah.
What's up, Coach Ash?
So that was great. Just being able to see her. I hadn't seen her in, I feel like it's been a long time.
We haven't talked about the marriage mastery meetup.
We didn't talk about that at all.
I'll tell you what, I'll actually throw up a couple of snippets this week of the marriage mastery meetup. There's a little bit of B-roll that I have that I can actually put out there. But I'll tell you what, we had. Is
that what you meant?
No, that's a drum roll.
Oh.
B-roll is like a video.
Okay, because I was like, what does that have to do with any of that? But okay, you know.
Okay, shout out to Nikki. Give me these, little industry key terms.
Okay, so for the layman, that means some additional tape.
Okay,
kind of like that.
Okay, we're in 2021. There's no tape. It's video. I'm just saying. I'm trying to, I know you older. You are my cougar. You're my cougar.
Wow, you hear Lovey? Wow, Lovey is throwing daggers. Okay,
no daggers, girl. Okay. I like to pet my cougar. Make her purr.
You know what?
Purr.
Stop right
purr
now.
Like Eartha right now. Ooh, okay. Show's over. We gotta go.
Stop being silly.
No,
anyway,
we had such a good time. But I gotta. So Mrs. Mavis McKnight, and Bishop McKnight hosted this marriage mastery meetup, and it's through their love clinic that they've done for the last, I think, 5 or 6 years.
You know what? I think everyone should meet them.
Oh, absolutely.
I just think everyone should meet them.
We had Mavis on before.
Yeah. So Mavis was
but we need her husband,
the
because
sex therapist.
Their story is so dynamic.
Oh my gosh.
He's amazing. He was preaching.
And you know what? And it's so funny because, like Lovey said, he is a bishop. But you find sometimes, I know I have experienced this, where people get into these certain positions, they become a little bit more lofty, whatever the words are. But this man was so down to earth. I didn't even know that was her husband initially.
He was
he's
funny.
So down to earth. He's so funny. He was so engaging. And then you see the two of them together, that the dynamic that they have. And like Lovey was saying, their story, it was so funny.
Story is so dope.
It really, really
and
is.
on top of it, it's so funny when you get to hear them talking about, because she is a sex coach, and so she's the first lady of the church. So when she goes in, and it's funny. She was like, okay, there's some words that you might have checked at the door, but I'm picking them up right now.
Right now.
She went in and it was hilarious.
Right.
Look, we were taking notes. Let's just put it that way.
And she kept it so real because one thing that, like she said when she was on our show, sometimes as Christians, we act like sex is not part of marriage.
Right.
She was like, you can forget all that. This is keeping it real.
She was like, did you forget about all that begatting?
Right. There was a whole lot of that. So,
but it was funny because there's a lot that happens within the Bible, and we want you guys to participate. If you're down in the Los Angeles area, they're looking at having another marriage mastery meetup around Valentine's Day or sometime in February
2022.
And
I believe
we were kind of waffling back and forth about, okay, if we get invited again, will we go? I think we definitely
we're going.
Will. We're going to go
I would just put it down saying we're going. I spoke for Lovey, y'all.
She's yanking on that chain again.
Chink, chink.
No, but it was fun. And then it wasn't just them, because you also had Miss Tanisha Collins. And Tanisha, she brought the thunder. I mean, she's an author. She's a coach herself. And it was just a lot of great teaching. And the couples that were there participating, when we had our breakouts, or they were coming up talking about, oh, your story's amazing and blah, blah, blah. And they loved it.
Yeah, really engaging. And that's what you want to have. You want to have a house full of people that are engaging,
True. And I need to get better at collecting like social proof, because by the time we got through mingling and talking with everybody, I realized, oh, everybody was gone. People said, oh, we want to do a testimony. Well, I was able to grab one couple before Ash came and picked us up and took us out to eat. And by that time, my stomach was screaming for some Roscoe's. So.
And it's so funny because I'm like, obviously Lovey's the brain guy with all the technology, because I was like, what's social proof mean?
No, and it was a really good time.
Yeah,
but
it was great.
Here's what's funny. So we flew down to LA. It was supposed to be like, okay, fly in on a Friday, come back on Saturday after the conference. Right. We were just flying in.
Just went in for that.
And take notes. We were participating because we were sitting in the back and taking our notes as well. But it was fly in, speak, get on the plane, come back, because I had to turn back around on Monday and fly down to San Diego for work.
Yes.
So we're hanging out with the bishop, his wife, all these people that were there for the conference. And we go eat with Ashley. We're sitting down eating with Ashley, and we're at Roscoe's having a good time, getting our grub on. My diet was so far off the path. And then I look at my phone. I'm like, oh, Southwest changed our flights. And Snooks is like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, it's okay. You know what? Well, we got a little extra time. We don't have to rush because we're going to be leaving at 6:45 tonight instead of 4:45.
Okay. So I want him to just tell the whole story, but I need to preface it, if I may.
Go right ahead.
Prior to us leaving and going down to Los Angeles, I told him I did not want to fly on Southwest. I'm not a fan of Southwest. I'll just put that out there. Said I don't want to fly on Southwest. And he was like, oh, Southwest, blah, blah, blah. It's cheaper. It's easier. Get in, get out, yada, yada, yada. Let's just do it. And so I was there was some pushback, but I was like, all right, cool. We'll just do Southwest. So
she
continue.
She was adamant about us not flying Southwest. I was like, look, babe, let's just go. It's just a quick go down.
A quick jaunt.
So if you think back in history to that particular weekend, you'll remember that on that specific day, actually that whole weekend, it started on Saturday, that Southwest canceled thousands of flights across the United States.
Millions of people stranded.
So when I looked at that text and saw that our flight had been to 6:45 p.m. that evening, we get to the
8:50. It was going to be 8:50 that evening.
No.
6. Okay, maybe we got home at 8:50. My bad. Sorry. I said sorry.
So we were going
you still haven't. Anyway, go.
So 6:45. So we go up there to check our luggage. I walk up there. We're all, happy-go-lucky. Like, oh, we're having a great time. This is a phenomenal day.
I wasn't happy-go-lucky though, because we were at Southwest. But go ahead.
And so I go to put the bags on the scale. The lady was like, "Oh, you come over here," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." So putting the bags up, and it was funny. Oh, I know what it was. And I was trying to use the kiosk first, and it wouldn't take my confirmation number. And I'm like, something's wrong. So I go up to the lady. That's what it was. And so we go up there, and I'm trying to put my bags up there to get them weighed. So She's like, oh, what's
She said, when are you flying out?
and I was like 6:45 tonight, but it's not recognizing my confirmation number.
And
She's like, oh, here, give it to me.
but she not frowned her face, but she looked like, what's he talking about? I'm
Right.
watching her, watching him, and Lovey's putting the luggage up on the scale. And so she was like, what? And so she looked at it, did some stuff on the computer, and then she looked at us and said, what?
And she said, "Oh, you're leaving at 6:45 p.m. on Monday.
Monday. Now this is Saturday. Saturday at 4 something.
Right. So I look her straight deadpan in the face, like, no, we're leaving tonight.
So then I look again at Lovey's phone and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This says Monday at 6:45 or 8:50 p.m., whatever it was, on 2 days from now. I was like, so what are we supposed to? She goes, oh, you got to go to that line over there, to the full service line. So I'm trying to keep it cool. I'm not being okay. I was like, no, because we finna go home. Because now I'm in straight different kind of mode. We are leaving today. We're going home. We're not staying out here.
When she says she's in straight different mode, let me tell you what different mode is. See, where I grew up in South Sacramento, it's a neighborhood called Meadowview. It's called the Gardens. It wasn't considered one of the best areas to live in. Not the worst, but not one of the best.
What are you trying to say?
But wait.
Okay.
Her family, where she came from, was Oak Park. Oak Park is like,
keep it clean, babe.
Oak Park is a worse area than Meadowview. So when she says she went into different mode,
are you trying to say I'm from the hood?
I'm just saying, when she says she went into different mode, she meant it was like Transformers.
Well, no.
Oak Park activated.
No, it was not that bad. We walked over there and we got in the line and I'm just like, okay, so we're going to find a way home. That's all I was focused on, was we're going home.
So we followed, suit. We followed the line. We got in line behind everybody else. We're about 10, 15 people back.
Well, yeah, we're 10, 15 people, but there were groups of people together. So we started hearing them talking about, oh, well, trying to find a plane, trying to find a ride home. Oh, and they're not giving any vouchers and they're not helping with hotels. And
people were heated.
So Lovey says, are all y'all here for Southwest? I mean, for Southwest for the Sacramento flight? And everybody's like, yes. I said, you got to be kidding me now. You got to be kidding.
And I felt bad. There was this elderly man that was in the line. And he was like, I have no place to go. My family dropped me off and they don't really live in this area. And his phone had died. It was just bad.
It was really bad. So we're like, okay, so now we're, this is the part where, we always talk about being real and staying in the real moment. And so my mind is not being real at that moment, because I'm thinking about all these things that, well, if they say this, then I'm going to say this. And if they tell me, oh, I'm getting all worked up and heated and stuff.
And I'm being cool. I'm cool and collected. Like, look, we gonna work this out somehow, some way.
And so one of the other ladies in line, she was like, no, I'm getting on the flight today. I'm finna go home. It was so funny because she was feeling the way that I was feeling. And then the guy that was behind us, he was just like, he had 4 bags. He said, how they just gonna cancel our flights like that without any prior knowledge? And they're talking about they're not helping us.
I don't know if you remember the guy behind us with all the bags. He kept getting on the phone cussing people out. He called Alaska. I can tell you exactly who he called. He called Alaska. He called American.
Delta. A friend of his, no one had it. Yeah.
Nobody had flights.
Any flights going.
Then
to Sacramento.
Called a friend of his who was on the phone, and I'm just like getting my little ear hustle on. He called a buddy of his. He's like, look, I can't do this all on my phone, so I need you to go on a computer. And so he had a buddy that was on the computer looking for flights while he was looking for flights on his phone. I'm not mad at him, but he got to the point where I swear he was cussing his friend out too. He was like, "Effing, you need to look over this one. Did you try that one? Did you try this?" It was bad.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, look, we'll just take the loss on this income on this money, right, on this ticket. We'll just go to a different airline. But there were no other airlines. There was one airline that was leaving as we were in line. And I was like, that's just great.
And so as more people started getting in line, because it was funny, it was like more and more people started getting in that Southwest line, because we didn't have any idea what was going on. And that's when the rumors started floating, where somebody comes into the line and says, oh, well, I heard 2 Southwest people, over talking, and they were saying it's because of the vaccine and people walked off the job and blah, blah, blah. They were saying all this stuff. And then another person was like, I can hear them up at the line being helped by the counter, at the counter by the people. And you could overhear them saying, what do you mean no vouchers? What do you mean no? So they weren't helping at all.
No
hotel vouchers, no transportation vouchers. So then we're thinking, okay, this has got to change. I'm sure they're going to fix this. So,
plus remember the electricity?
Oh, the electricity kept going out at LAX. We're sitting in all of a sudden like
in our terminal. Yeah.
And then all the lights go out. We're like, what the hell is going on around here?
That's crazy.
And in my mind, I'm immediately thinking, okay, it's a terrorist attack. That's where my mind went. I'm like, okay, what's up? We're at LAX. I'm like, this has turned into a Bruce Willis movie.
That's crazy.
So then, so the temperature's rising. Everybody's getting heated a little bit. Even I'm like, okay, because now I'm starting to fixate on what am I supposed to do? Because I can't go on Monday because I have to be in San Diego Monday morning. I'm traveling down there for work. So I there's no way in the world I'm going to miss my flight, for work. So then this couple, they decided that they didn't want to get in line. So they walked all the way up to the counter in front of everybody else. And we were still about 10 people deep.
Well, I don't know if it was 10. Well, anyway, so they walked up there. The killing thing was that the lady at the desk was actually helping someone while when it was more the lady. She walked up there and she was like almost, I felt like trying to push those other people out of the way. And I'm like, what's she doing? And I'm getting more and more upset because I'm like, I know she's not finna cut in line. And you see all these people. Said that out loud too. And I did. I was like, I know she's not finna cut in line in front of all these people. Everybody here, And so I'm watching her and I'm looking at the guy who she came with. He's kind of standing back a little bit. But I'm like, how you just gonna go up there while somebody else is already up there? Number one. Number two, how you just gonna go up there
in front of all these people, including us, that are in this line? So mind you, I want to say we're about 10 deep, but there was probably about a good another 15 or 20 behind us. Man, maybe not 20.
No,
it was about another 10, 15.
10, yeah.
And so me being me, when we talk about the DISC assessment, I have a tendency to mention that I happen to lead with my high D more times than not. And so I guess my cape was showing that day because I put an S on my chest and let my cape fly. And I just kind of spoke up over the crowd and I was like, hey, excuse me, sis, the line's back here. And so I proceeded to become, out of her mouth,
oh my God,
every expletive you can think of.
Oh my God.
And because this is a PG rated show,
every single one,
I cannot repeat anything
any of it
that she said. She called me every word in the book,
every bad word that you could ever think of, every offensive word that you can ever think of.
And here's the funny part. Some of it didn't even make sense. She was just stringing words together that didn't even flow. Like, some are adjectives, some are nouns. And she just kind of like, blah, 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 blah. She just threw it all out there. You're effing this and that. And
so I got mad and I was like, oh, you ain't finna be talking to my husband like that. Then she turns around. Well, she was further on the other side. And I was the B word. I was this, I was that.
Like, you trick out. I was like, ooh.
I was like, oh, see. And I'm telling you right now, it was by the grace of God that I was like, he was just like, don't pay attention to that. And it really made me stop because the old me gets down where she gets mad at. Okay. I was like, this girl, but then again, I won't even say.
You and your brother have a saying.
I was like,
you guys, you and your brother used to say stuff.
We get down where we get mad at.
Yeah, we get down where we get mad at.
Yeah.
And you like, and you.
Oh, but here's the thing. I'm so happy for growth and maturity because number one, I already know what am I going to look like fighting in the airport because somebody called me a name. We tell these things to our children. Names don't matter, blah, blah, blah. Whatever they say is not even worth because you're walking away from something.
Right.
Because all I thought about at that point too is like, if something was to happen, I'm not finna go to jail for this lady.
And that is
right. I'm not going to jail. I'm not about to lose whatever. My life is going to change because she's being ignorant. And that's exactly what she was being.
with the capital ignorant.
Oh my God. It was capitalized. It was bold. It was everything.
And here's the thing, you know what? And you're thinking to yourselves right now, oh, you guys are probably putting 10 on it.
No, we're not.
I'm telling you, we're listen, you're getting
I
the
wish
PG
that you
version.
could have. It was like one of those videos you see on what is that, World Star or
Yeah, it was
something
like,
like
oh,
that.
this is straight up out of
good
World Star
Lord,
hip-hop,
it was
'cause-
crazy.
Now, what's funny to me though is that I kept my cool, and I was like, sis, just get in line. Just get in line. Sis, get in line. And then the husband starts yelling, you don't even know what's going on up here. You can mind your business. And I was like, did you guys miss your flight, or did they cancel your flight? And he was like, you don't even know. Yeah. I'm like, okay, everybody in this line's in the same boat. So we all know. So, and I didn't cuss. I really didn't raise my voice other than when I initially said, hey sis, you need to get in line like everybody else. And then they kept going. She's calling, you stupid, stupid. I mean, she kept going on. I can't even mention all this
No,
stuff.
you can't.
But I was like, it's funny. I go, you keep calling me stupid, and yet you're the only one using vulgarity. Oh, and that like took the lid off. And then she went into a whole other tirade. And
So then then the husband was like, Ernest and him started talking. And Ernest like, look.
wait. I got this. You know how the line wraps around in Southwest, where you know, like, or any airlines where you, like when you're going through security, it's like a big old snake. You go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm thinking like, yeah, get in the back of the line. Why did back of the line snake around to where they were standing right next to us?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And she kept running her mouth. And I just was like, Lord, please, because I'm about to sock her in the jaw. I felt like that. But obviously, like I
Part of
said
me was
earlier,
like, you know what it's like when you take a girl to the club and something jumps off and your girl starts bumping her gums and she gonna start a fight, and you're thinking, oh man, now I'm gonna have to fight because she talking smack. I gotta back up. But I felt like that's where we're about to go with Snooks, because this other wife was going in on me and talking over her husband or whoever he was to her. And I saw that look on Snooks' face, like if she says one more thing.
and I felt like that, but like I said, thank God for maturity, and also for the mindset of, what do I have to lose if I decide to stoop down to her level?
True.
It was nothing but the grace of God, to be honest with you.
So Brett and I started talking. So he comes over, he's like, let me just talk to you. Let me talk to you man to man, man to man. And I was like, fine, let's talk. And I meant, mind you, the only thing between us was that little tape thing, the little thing, elastic thing that they put in between the little poles. So he's sitting there, he's like, why did you feel like you needed to? And I was like, bro, it was only fair because all of us were in line,
right.
and you guys are trying to jump up. He's like, but you don't even know my situation. I'm like, it's the same as all of us. So he's like, okay, I understand. I'm like, look, all I wanted to do was make sure, before anything jumped off, get you guys out of the way. So he and I are talking. His wife is still sitting there bumping her gums. So I'm like, I can't even repeat what she was saying. But every time he would say something, he would tell her, look, calm down, babe. I got this. And then she would call me a name. They'd be like, stop. She would call me a name again. And then he turns, he's like, hold on. So he turns to talk to her. She goes off on him. Oh, now you just gonna sit there and talk to him? You ain't nothing but a da 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 da. I'm like, okay. And at that point, I was like, I'm done. So I just turned. Snooks and I are focused. So me and the young lady and Snooks start talking. That was up front
Because we tried to
devise
a plan on how we gonna get.
We were
home.
looking at Greyhound buses. We were looking at.
Are they still a thing?
Amtrak. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know Greyhound's still open. Yeah, we were looking at Amtrak. We were thinking about renting a car. Of course, they didn't have any cars for the weekend.
Right, because she was on the car site, and then
so then I went to Amtrak. You had to do it for 2 days, and you had to return it to LA. You couldn't return it to another airport. Yeah.
Mind you, we're all going to Sacramento.
Everybody in that line was going to Sacramento, except for her. They weren't going to Sacramento.
Yeah, that couple wasn't. But it was funny because so then we're looking at this Amtrak thing, like, okay, you know what? We can get on Amtrak. We're trying to figure out how to get over to the Amtrak station and I was about to say, you know what? Forget these guys. We'll deal with Southwest later, and we need to go catch this train so we can get home.
Right.
And it was going to be like a 13, 14 hour. I can't remember what it was, but it was a crazy ride.
Crazy ride. It was like a 14-hour ride.
And the only reason why we didn't is because we realized right before we purchased it that I thought it was a straight shot. No, it was like we had to switch the train 3 times.
Yeah, it was crazy the way that they had us going. So we're in California. They had us shooting to Nevada or something like that.
It was crazy.
It was just a weird kind of thing. So I was like, no, we're not doing that.
So then
So,
we get, go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna say so. Lovey, he gets mad at me because
Oh, because I'm just trying to talk to dude, and Snooks
yeah,
is busy trying to pull me away from him.
be-
Don't even talk to him. Don't even talk to him. And I was like,
no,
I could sense I felt his energy. So I was like, okay, you know what? We're gonna be able to talk this through, and it's not gonna escalate.
no. Oh, okay. But I didn't because I'm hearing her and I don't know what was being said. All I was like, okay, so my mindset was if something jumps off, I'm not one of them broads that's just gonna stand there and watch. We all finna it's just gonna go bad. So I'm telling Lovey, just come over here. Stop talking to them. Stop talking to them. Lovey got mad at me. And he turned around, looked at me. He was like, I got it. Or he said something along those lines. Then I got mad at him. I didn't say anything, but I was like, okay. Because I'm not big on making scenes. I was like, okay, I can't wait till we get home.
Did you
I
catch that?
cannot wait.
It wasn't okay. It was like, okay.
It was like, okay. And so I went back to my phone. I'm mad. I'm
Yes.
almost shaking now because I'm more mad at Lovey than I was at the lady. So Lovey said, so finally, they did call us up there and they had a flight the very next day out of Burbank. So we're like, okay, so how are we getting to Burbank though?
I was like, so can you give us like a taxi cab or get us?
No.
Nope. I was like, wait, well, how are we supposed to stay in a hotel? Because we just can't sleep. And she's like, oh, well, we don't have any vouchers for the taxi. We have no vouchers for a hotel.
And it wasn't just that they didn't have any. It was the way that she said it. Cause I'm like, now I'm want to snatch
She has
you
straight up
from
attitude.
account behind the counter. But I get it because after the fact, of course, because you guys, I'm gonna say you guys, but Southwest as a corporation, you dump all of this stuff onto the people that have to deal with the people. So all day long, I'm sure she probably got cussed at. I'm sure she probably was threatened,
Right.
and I had to remember that it's not her fault. It's not her company. She represents the company, yes, because she works there, but there's nothing that she could do to change it because I'm sure she would rather had everyone's flights go through than to be standing there looking at us. And
Right.
she also, that was her double shift that
Those are
she
double
worked.
shift. Yep.
Mhm.
But let me go back before we even got up to the line. Why, when like we were about 5 people away from the front of the line, why did another Southwest person walk up to the front of the line in front of the counter and say, are there any A-listers in this line? Why were the only A-listers in this entire line the crazy couple that tried to pick a fight with me? So I pulled them out of, so they got to go back up in front of everybody again.
It was
I
so.
was so pissed. I'm like, really?
And then the other lady was like, they lying. They are not A-listers.
She did say that.
All I could do was laugh. All I could do was laugh.
At that
Just-
point, yeah. And then when we talked to the lady up front, so after they told us they couldn't give us any transportation, they couldn't pay for any of our housing or, our accommodations for the evening. She's like, but I can do this. So what does she do? She gives us each $100 flight voucher for Southwest Airlines.
I was like, do you think we're flying Southwest again?
I looked the lady in the face and I didn't mean to be rude, but I looked at her and I said, so you can't give us a taxi voucher or a hotel voucher, but you're giving us a flight voucher to travel with the airlines that is leaving us stranded in Los Angeles. And she just looked at me with a straight face, no emotion, nothing. And I was like, okay, all right.
Oh, I was so mad when I was
Heated.
pulling my bag out of that airport. Oh, good Lord, I was upset. So we go out we had to find an Uber or something to take us from LAX
To Burbank.
to Burbank because we had to get to Burbank because our flight was at 7 a.m. the next morning.
$84 taxi ride.
Later, 80. And I think that the taxi driver, to be honest,
Actually, it wasn't Uber. We tried going Uber.
oh yeah,
And neither Uber nor Lyft would pick up our ride or any ride. Everybody that was over there and like that Uber, something was going on to where they weren't actually picking up any riders.
well, because every time that first they said one price, oh, it's $100, and then saying searching for driver, and then it came back $127 and searching for driver, and then it went as high as 150 or something. Like I was like, what? So Lovey was like, let me go. he went to go get a taxi.
So yeah, so Snook stayed over there by the in the lift area, just in case somebody did show up or whatever. So I went over to the taxi. So I just asked the taxi guy, I was like, how much would it cost us? Give me an estimate to take us to Burbank. And he's like, oh, it'd be like $75.
And Lovey's like, "Are you sure you're going to stick to $75?" He said yes. And when we got in the car or whatever, we had good conversation with them. And but at the end of the day, it actually turned out to be $84, which
No,
was
actually,
still
no, it was $95. So when
oh,
we get there and it's 95,
that's right.
and then I was like, I said, hey, my dude, you said $75. Oh, it was just an estimate. And I'm like, no. You said it'd be like no more than 75. You said 70 to 75, no more than 75. So he's like, okay, I'll take it down to 75. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if you had the autonomy to do that to begin with, then you should have just stuck to your word. But I went ahead and gave him $80. And then he said, oh, well, they're going to charge $4 for a service fee and blah, blah. I'm like, whatever, that's cool. So then we go there, we get to the hotel. So we stay in the hotel. Mind you, the bishop and the first lady and Tanisha were praying for us the entire time. Because when all this stuff was jumping off in the line,
Yeah.
I don't know if I told them about the crazy people. I think I just told them that we were, I gotta ask Mavis if I told her about that. But it was, anyway, so long story short, that was how our whole 2 weeks of travel began.
Well, yeah, it started out really, really well. And it's so funny because we had such a great day, got up in the morning. We had pretty good rest at the hotel, got up in the morning, went to the church, uh, did our thing, was received well, met with Ash, went and had some good food, good grub. And then we go to the airport and the crazies come out.
And the cool thing is, what, it still turned out well because it provided some content that we could share with you in our life that was just bananas.
Yeah.
It was absolutely bananas. But
so the moral of that story is always listen to your wife.
Which one? The one that was that I guess no, you
yeah, because
right.
I didn't act crazy.
You didn't. No,
I just said that you ain't gonna be talking to my husband like that. And I was mad. But
you did good.
I just was like, no, I'm not about to go to jail because I know I won't do well in jail. I don't like community toilets.
Yeah, but that was something else. And we're still dealing with, and believe it or not, here we are all these weeks later, and I'm still fighting with Southwest to get reimbursement for the taxi ride and the hotel. It is being reviewed by yet another level of people that need to review or whatever their process is.
Yeah.
Southwest is a trip.
So is my husband, but okay.
Yeah. Guess who's not allowed to fly Southwest anymore?
No, I'm not flying Southwest. Not if I can help it. I've never been a great big fan of Southwest because I like to choose my seat and I want to be able to go sit in my seat. I don't want to have to rush and be like, oh, I got to pick a seat and all that. That's okay. So for me, Southwest is like TJ Maxx.
I like TJ Maxx
or Marshalls or something like that.
Marshalls.
They're the same company, babe.
I like TJ Maxx.
But I say that in a way because at TJ Maxx, I mean, you're like, you could find something anywhere, The other airlines where you pick your seat, they're like Macy's, where everything's on the same. Let me just find my size. But I know to go over to this rack and look for this blouse.
Is it Macy's or is it Montgomery Ward? Because
Montgomery Ward is not even open.
And your knees are hitting the people. Huh? And you got the phantom farter like we talked about last week where they just I'm just saying.
Terrible. That was United Airlines.
That was a Macy's.
That was not a Macy's. That was JCPenney's. Macy's is different. So anyway, I'm just saying that's kind of just made me think about that. I want to go and not have to be like, I know people like, group A, group B, group C. That stuff to me doesn't matter because my seat is already assigned. And I guess it's more about overhead luggage space or whatever, but I don't take a bag like that. All my stuff can fit under the seat. But I just like to be able to have my seat already picked.
Note to self.
Note to self.
When we travel.
Yes, when we travel.
I'm going to tape a letter. I'm going to bring some letters that say A, B, C on stickers So when we fly Southwest, I'm just going to sit there and slap it on them and be like, oh, this is what your ticket says. You have your seat.
Whatever.
Anyway, hey, look.
But the purpose kind of, I want to say the purpose. So I feel like, we just kind of dropping a little bit of a nugget in here. So when I said, Lovey and I had a disagreement about the couple in the airport situation,
Yes.
because he said something and it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, because he goes, after he told me, he was like, stop. And I got mad at him, and I just turned around and, I was looking at my
And
phone.
I said stop because I was trying to talk to the gentleman, the other guy. I had it under control, and Snooks was busy. Like all she was focused on was protecting.
Yeah, because I was in protection mode. I'm always going, I don't care how big you are, whatever. I'm always going to protect. I always protect what's mine. And my mind was somewhere else thinking like, to myself, if she's acting the way that she's acting, was that saying birds of a feather flock together?
Right.
So what type of a man is he? I'm not putting him down, but I'm thinking they're of the same type of mindset, and if people are crazy, a lot of people, they just, they lead with emotion. And so first thing they want to do is show how big and bad they are, what their emotions are, leading from their emotions.
Look, we might've been in LA, but the one thing I do know is we were in LAX. At least he wasn't strapped. I knew that.
Well, okay. But I wasn't thinking rational in that, as far as like, oh, well, at least he's not this. I'm just thinking this man might be crazy. What if he tries to do something to my husband? She's already acting crazy. And then we just all gonna be fighting. And not,
He was gonna have to deal with butterscotch.
So later, Lovey says, he goes, I can handle myself. No, you didn't say it like that. You said, I'm tired of you thinking that I don't know how to handle myself. How did you say it? Tired of you thinking I don't know, I can't take care of myself. I can handle myself. And that kind of hurt my feelings, because I was like, I never said, number one, that you can't handle yourself, or for you to think that that's what I thought. I know that I'm very secure and I'm very safe with you, but I feel like you thought I was digging at your manhood in a sense, because I was like,
saying, look, the last time I saw you fight, you lost. you got stabbed. You had to go through a bunch of operations. I had to wipe your butt. She was like, I got no faith in your skills, homie.
Wow. I'm so glad it's 20 years later. We can laugh at this. Well, not 20 years. What, 26 years later? 25.
25 years later.
That we can laugh at that. That's not funny. That's not funny. Don't be saying that. But no, I just was saying, no one ever wants to feel like their partner doesn't have faith in them, or they don't believe in them. And it was never like that. That hurt my feelings, because I was like, is that what you think that I think of you? And which is so far from the truth. First of all, I'm trying to protect him because he is the breadwinner. We need you to be able to still go to work the next day. So
I see what's up. Okay.
No, but it speaks to misunderstandings.
Right. But you know what? And I think that it also speaks to, at the end of the day, when we get back to we made up before we even got to the taxi. She apologized.
I didn't.
And yes, you did.
I did not.
She apologized with her eyes. I felt it.
No, and I did though. And but we had a longer talk.
Right.
Because we had more time later to talk. But I did apologize. I was like, look, I wasn't trying to, I don't know, grandstand, whatever word I use. I'm just trying to be protective of you, because I always will protect what's mine,
And I apologize for because in that moment I was heated. Like, okay, look, I got this. And I don't remember exactly what it is I said, but I know it probably wasn't said in a very loving way.
He raised his voice at me. I was like, I know your shame.
But we talked it out.
Mm-hmm.
And that just goes to tell you that there's times where you have to actually separate yourself from the moment. We always talk about being in the moment, but when those moments end up being toxic, or the potential to be toxic, you have to be able to separate yourself from those particular moments and then move beyond it. And we always, it's so funny. It's taken on the name of watermelon, but we didn't invoke our word, which was like volleyball. But we've talked in the past about how when something happens and you get to an area where one of you doesn't feel safe, or you feel like I'm just not I'm not in a place where I can have a proper conversation about
Be
whatever it is.
rational.
Yeah, and be rational.
Mhm.
You invoke a word. And it's funny, a lot of the couples that we coach, when we introduce it, we talk about watermelon,
But we
and
say volleyball
but we say
because
volleyball, yeah. And so we call it that now for everyone. And it's we didn't do that. We'd have to invoke it. But the principle is, once you invoke that word, you come back, you leave it alone for 24 hours. We left it alone for like maybe a couple hours. And then we were able to actually talk about it and revisit in the hotel when we were both calm and ready to discuss it. And we were fine going forward.
Mhm. And it's important that you do that because like I said, when he made that statement, it hurt my feelings because I felt like he thought that that's how I viewed him. He was like, no, that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you need to shut up. No.
Pretty much.
But it was like the misunderstandings will happen. It's all about how you get through them. I won't say get around them because to get around them means you avoid them. When you have a misunderstanding, I feel like misunderstandings sometimes they will, I won't say sometimes they bring you clarity when you work through them.
It's true.
So,
It's very true.
and and understanding what the intention of your partner is. I wasn't saying come over here because I felt like he couldn't handle himself. I'm in protection mode, and he's always in protection mode of me. So I already know that. But if you understand what the true intentions of your partner are, and knowing that, okay, my partner is not one that's going to hurt me. I do feel safe or whatever it is. Maybe feelings may not be as hurt, because I don't think you would ever intentionally hurt me, you know.
Not unless it was like Steelers playing your team, and then we just had to
Oh,
square off. But so
square.
it was a lot of fun. I mean, the weekend was, but then we had to go into that situation, and we lived to tell about it another day.
Mhm.
And we had a phenomenal weekend the following weekend.
Yeah,
And
we just had additional time to be alone because we were coming home to Kiana. I think that's one of the things that really drove me too, because I knew our youngest was home alone, and I was like, oh, nope, she's expecting us home. Not already, we already call out the family and everybody, gather the troops or whatever. And even though she's 18, she's still the baby, and
she is, so look, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was just us sharing a story about what we went through, and hopefully there's some nuggets in there that you can actually take away. One of the things we really want you to take away is um, this request from us, and that is to go to Apple Podcasts and to leave us a rating, leave us a review, leave a rating. We haven't really been as adamant about asking for that as much as possible, but it helps us tremendously if you can do that. And then
Yeah.
also, if you think that, what, we would love to have a conversation with Snooks and Lovey to talk about our marriage, feel free to do a discovery call. It's absolutely free. So if you go to that's not MIC, if you go to marriedintocrazy.com
Mhm.
and you go to the coaching tab, you'll see that there's a place where you can you can book a discovery call. It's a free 15-minute call where we just sit down and talk to see if there's any way that we might be of service to you. You can also leave us a voicemail on on our website. There, you'll see buttons all over the place where you can actually leave us up to a 2-minute voicemail. And there's a new thing that we're doing. It's called the question of the month. So it's going to be a crazy question that we're going to ask. And with us going into the holidays,
Mm.
the crazy question of the month, and it's really not that crazy, is just simply, where do you go for Thanksgiving? Do you go to his family, or do you spend it with her family? Or have you started your own new tradition where everyone comes to your home? And is it both sides of the family that come to your home? I'm trying to figure out the scales of holidays.
Who does what?
Who
Mhm.
does what? Where does it tip? I know in our house, it used to be where Thanksgiving was my side of the family, where we would all come together. Christmas was Snook's side of the family. But my family is now spread all over the U.S. As time has gone on, everyone is spread out across the U.S. So Thanksgiving isn't really what it used to be. But I'm curious. So where do you go for Thanksgiving? Whose side of it does it represent, and why? And you can actually go to marriedintocrazy.com and click on the question of the month tab, and leave your answer. And what we'll do is, we'll take several answers and over the course of this month, and we'll select a few and we'll include them in the podcast. So your voice may be heard on the podcast going forward, if you can stay within those 2 minutes, but also just let us know, and make it entertaining, keep it clean. And we look forward to hearing from you. Again, that's at marriedintocrazy.com. And you can go to the question of the month tab and answer the question of the month. And I'll have it reposted there as well.
Yes. Sounds great.
You have anything else?
Nope. Just want to say thanks you guys for listening to us, for enjoying our story, because I know you will.
And if you want to see more like that on a daily basis, make sure you go to our Facebook group, Iron Tribe, the marriage community, and join the marriage community. There's a lot of stuff that we repost regarding Married Into Crazy, but sometimes we'll add some educational items in there, different things about how to enhance your marriage. And we try and pull in things from other people as well. So that's it. Until the next time.
Be blessed.
All right. Bye.